A call to order the March 16th regular meeting of the Planning and Zoning Commission of the City of Sebastian. We'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Mr. Roth is excused. Mr. Simmons?
Here.
Ms. Cottenberg?
Here.
Mr. Carter?
Present.
Mr. Reyes?
Here.
Mr. McManus?
Here.
Mr. Kizzelbosh is excused. Mr. Hugan?
Here.
Mr. Alvarez?
Here.
Thank you.
Okay. Due to the fact that Mr. Kizzelbosh and Mr. Roth are both excused, Mr. Hugan and Mr. Simmons will be voting in their place this evening. You have all received a copy of the meeting minutes from February 16th. Does anyone have any additions or corrections? Seeing none, the chair will entertain a motion to accept the minutes as provided.
So moved.
Make a
Second.
motion, we accept the minutes from the March 16th, or February 16th meeting.
And a second.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. Okay, there is no quasi-judicial presentation for this evening. No unfinished business. Any public input? Seeing none, we will move to new business, which is a request for revisions to building elevations for the Jackson Street corners. Have a staff presentation, please.
Thank you, Chairman, Commissioners. Since this request is coming from the developer, if Mr. Neflis would like to present what his changes are, or do a presentation to you, and if
Okay.
staff could comment afterwards, then.
Great, thank you.
Madam Chairman, board members, thank you for your time this evening. I believe that y'all have in front of you several elevations that show the current elevation that was approved and the request for our changes. Our changes are three-part. The first part is to lower the roof height on the Dollar Tree building and on the dialysis building. The second part of that request is to change the shutters on both the buildings as well. So we've got two different heights on there. We've got an average height on these buildings of 24.2 inches across. One's about 25 and the other's 23 and change, but if you average it out, we've got 24 and 2 inches on there. And we're proposing to reduce that by 2 feet. The reason that we've done this, when we originally started this project, we had two buildings slated. We had the Dollar Tree originally, and we had a second building, which was going to be a mattress firm, an AT&T store, and possibly a third tenant in there. At the 11th hour, mattress firm was sold, and we had the dialysis clinic wanted to go in the back of our property, and we moved them up. So we had to scrap all the project, the whole plans that we had for the second building, and we had to move the dialysis clinic in there, which required an overhang and this whole redesign of this building that is in there now. And we kind of scrambled, and the architects somewhat scrambled, and honestly, in our zeal to get our plan in and get it redone in our site plan, which at the moment was really the pressing issue, was getting our plat done and getting our site plan approved. My partner and I looked at elevations without a fine-tooth comb. And we also did not have the advantage or the benefit of having our contractor having bid equipment, air conditioning, HVAC, stuff which goes on the roof of this building, to work by actual heights there. Once we got this done, we looked at it, and we looked at the, just looking at it, looked at the eaves, and we just kind of glanced at it and said, yeah, we've got a good product. Dory had given us some input from the first product we sent, which she didn't like, and we sent whole new drawings back that were much more in line with code, which kind of was where we are today. Quite frankly, I didn't look that hard. I looked at drawings. I really didn't look at the numbers and go, well, it says 25 feet, and that's 23 feet, and I've got a 5-foot overhang. I looked at the elevation and the windows and the concept of it, and that's what we sent in. We had a junior architect, and I hate to throw him under the bus, but I'm going to, working along with the senior architect, and if I had looked at eaves, I never would have allowed 5-foot and 3-foot eaves. That would not have been what we submitted. Nonetheless, they got submitted. It's what you approved. I'm here asking to change that, as well as the heights and also the shutters. And once again, the shutters kind of falls under working with our contractor. We've got a lesser expensive product. It bolts onto the wall just like the metal shutters does. They're not functional shutters. They're decorations. And the vinyl will be there just as long as the metal will be there. They both hold paint the same amount of time. Vinyl shutters have been approved on other buildings, particularly the Dollar Tree out on Sebastian Boulevard coming into town. Those are all vinyl shutters on that building. So with that, I'm in front of you kind of asking for a little bit of help and your mercy. We don't believe that we've asked for a significant change. We think that it's a minor change. We've got one elevation ghosted on top of the other so that you can see actually how it impacts it. I've got some pictures here that I would share with you.
I think they may have those, or they do it, okay. Okay.
Basically what I've done on these pictures is I went around and looked at the overhangs on a lot of different buildings around Sebastian. And these are all relatively new buildings, including the dialysis center that is up by the hospital under construction right now. And it comes down to...
Sorry, thank you.
The look and the eaves and the height, just like beauty, and that's in the eye of the beholder. And while some will like a narrow eave, some won't like a narrow eave, but the fact of the matter is that they're certainly in use in the city, all over the city, in large buildings and in small buildings. Yes, there's some older buildings that have wider eaves. So I'd ask you to take that into consideration, that we've not asked for anything that is abnormal or unusual. We've asked for what is architecturally compatible with what we've suggested to you. When we get to the height, basically we're asking for a 2-foot change, and it really is based on the air conditioning and the HVAC units that are on the roof. We don't need the extra 2 feet that we have on the roof. When it comes down to the shutters, if you weren't touching them or looking at them, and which no one other than the installers will ever look at them or touch them until we're repainted, no one will know what they are. And when I look at all this in a package for my development, it's about $100,000. And I think that if each one of you were doing this to your house or building this project, and you said, wow, I could save $100,000, I haven't impacted anything architecturally, I think you would agree with me that you might go down this path of looking to save $100,000. And just to kind of give you a perspective, I know that 24 feet, 22 feet is kind of a nebulous number when you're not looking at it, but if I could just step it off here and show you that here I stand at 22 feet. Here I stand at 20 feet. I think I pretty much still look the same from either spot. So If that's good, I'll answer any questions y'all might have. If I might, before you start, with the, on the shutters, the shutter change, I guess the biggest change on the banks, the shutter banks, is on the Dollar Tree. And you'll notice that the banks on the side of the wall are much larger. Well, they're actually about 20 inches wider. Those two banks of shutters are never seen by anybody. They're on the interior between the Dollar Tree and the dialysis center. So that's the north side, and they're on the south side. So the traffic does not see any of those shutters that are changed right there on those big banks. Those are just to break up the expanse of the wall.
I have one question. By you lowering the peak of the roof,
Yes, sir.
are you still going to have the correct amount of slope on the roof?
Yes,
for
sir,
water
the
to drain?
pitch does not change.
Okay.
Mr. Neff, can I request a copy, the packet that you gave to them for the,
Don't worry, oh, I do have one.
Okay.
I can tell you which buildings are which, if anybody has a question on the photos that I handed out. There's the dialysis center, there's the PNC Bank, Pelican Landings in there. There's a building behind the church. I don't remember the fifth one off the top of my head.
Okay, we'll open it up for questions then.
I do.
Yes, sir.
Yes, additional question about the height of the roof. Are you still going to be able to conceal your HVAC equipment, air
Yes, sir.
conditioning, things
And
like that without
yes,
any
sir, if you
problems?
look on the, I believe on the drawings that we submitted.
Yeah, I saw that.
There was a side elevation showing
Yeah.
that we've covered all of that.
Also, it wasn't brought up at the last meeting when this was originally presented. I don't know how the other commissioners feel about this. I'd like to see something, well, like the Mexican restaurant did across the street, for example, keeping with our fishing village theme, like putting in the nautical ropes with the I don't know, the bowl, the rods there.
Poles.
Yeah. Is that something that could be added into the equation?
Where would you like to see that?
Well, I'd say maybe in the front where the parking would be, in front of the building.
I can certainly try and have something sent to you. I mean, I'll try to do that. We put a split rail fence at Dory's request across the back. And I really didn't have the architects look at doing, but I don't see why I couldn't put a couple of poles with some rope across the front.
Yeah.
Maybe in front of some of the parking spaces.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
One of the ways we look at this area is our riverfront
Yes, sir.
area.
Yes, sir.
We have a certain theme we're trying to keep within this riverfront.
Yes, sir.
So we're looking at trying to add some hardscapes possibly to the landscape, to help keep that fishing village theme. I think that's what Mr. Carter's trying to say. That's all I'm getting at.
Yes, sir.
I was not here for the original review, so I'm not sure how your parking is in the front,
Right.
what kind of protection you have in the frontage of the buildings.
Well, I will say this, that whatever we do, you have a monster landscape code.
Yeah, well, I was
Your
just gonna
landscape
say,
code, to be perfectly honest with you, is about 50% more plants than anybody else in the state. We about
Great,
choked to
isn't
death
it?
when the numbers started coming in, to be perfectly honest with you, on that landscape code. And it's really hard to get all the plants in there. But we got them. We got them all coming. So it gets to a point that I've got landscaping in here, I put stuff in, and can you even see it through the landscaping?
we like being different than everybody
I
else. here.
understand, and I'm trying to accommodate that.
That's our wonderful village town theme here. So,
No, in all
my
honesty,
question was similar to Mr. Hugin's on the pitch.
Yes, sir.
When you bring it down so far like that, it's almost making it look like one of the residential buildings. I like the extra overhangs and the high, with the fake dormers up high.
the dormers
gives
are
it
still there.
a really nice look. Yeah, but you're bringing it down a lot, so. And on the shutters, even though they are on the side, we want the entire structure to have that look. So I understand what you're saying about costs.
I mean, I can add another
all
bank,
that.
I could add another bank of shutters, you know, to come up to almost the same width. I mean, we're only
We're
talking.
just in discussion right now.
Yeah, I understand.
So.
Yes,
On it, this is a flat deck roof with no parapet on it, right?
I'm sorry.
It's a flat deck roof. The roof is flat deck.
In the center, it is.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So the ones you're showing us are all hip or gable roofs. So I looked at this, and the way I look at it is the front makes a really good statement. I think if you reduce it down, you're going to lose that on the front. As far as the shutters go, I don't care.
Yes, sir.
And as long as the front is returned 10 feet, and that would include the 5 feet overhang and 5 feet back, from that point on, I wouldn't care if you didn't put shutters on it. Just put, you know, crown molding and styrofoam and let them stucco over it.
Yes, sir.
I guess I can make a few comments, too. I sure do understand the cost impact for you, but I have to tell you that the visual is, to me, dramatically cheapened by those couple of feet. And you're building some substantial buildings on a corner that will be there for a very, very long time. I'm sure you want these buildings to last 70, 80 years.
Madam Chairman, I've never built anything that didn't last, and I've always prided myself on developing good-looking buildings and winning awards for them.
Yeah.
So I do appreciate each and every one of your comments, and we have a little bit different perspective, but I do appreciate what you're saying, and I understand that y'all live here and that I don't.
Well, I just know I've had some experience myself with saving a little bit of money up front and then wishing forever after that I hadn't.
Yeah, 100 grand's a little more than a little bit, but anyway.
Well, I can certainly appreciate that too, but my comments are, I just liked the looks of it better before, and I'm not the only vote here, so thank you.
Commissioners, I do have, if this kind of puts it a little bit in perspective, if you're okay, I do have, this was an attachment to an email that I did receive from Mr. Neflef's architects, and it does, I can show it on the screen here a little bit better on, instead of just a two-dimensional, if it's okay if I show you on the screen here?
Is that ghosted,
I wanted to
is that
mention,
the ghosted elevations?
Yes.
Dory, I wanted to mention the pictures that he's given us are full roof systems.
Yeah, that's
Not
what I
just
said.
the parapet, or, you know, the front
per
truss
gable.
system. So it's hard, you can't really compare it to these pictures that he's provided us.
Yeah, it is a little bit hard. I wanted to show you here, though. This picture that you see here are the elevations that you approved. You can see they've got the nice overhangs, the nice eaves, the shutters that are there, the larger overhang on the Dollar General. This is what's being proposed. And I know on paper, when you just say 2-3 feet, or the difference from 5 to 3, I think this does make a difference. We're talking about a 10,000 square foot building and a 6,800 square foot building. I think they are going to be very much visible. We did check to make sure, we did have them send us these elevations that do show that the mechanical equipment on the rooftop will be hidden. As you can see here, what they're proposing. So they still will be enclosed, screened. But that is a difference. I think it is going to, what he's asking for will make a difference on those larger buildings. We have always, in all of our overlay districts, always gotten just those few extra things that have made the buildings, that make the overlays. They're not always the buildings that we want with the front porches and the T111 siding, but these were the three things that were kind of offered up on his buildings: the shutters, the larger eaves, the pitched roofs, that are going to make these buildings special. Some of the other projects that we have recently approved, 68,000 square feet of mini storage is putting T111 on their siding. They're putting dormers, and they're putting the faux shutters on their buildings also. Dollar General, also, they have the T111. Not that we're asking for T111 on these, but these were some of the little extra that we got in the overlays that make our buildings meet those intentions. And when these were presented to you in December, in good faith, staff's recommended approval that these met the intention of the overlay. That was my my trouble with approving them administratively. I wanted to bring these back to you since it was at a quasi-judicial hearing that you did approve these, that I didn't feel it should be just staff to sign these off, that it was up to you guys if you were okay with these changes. But I wanted to show you, I think when I was scrolling through on my computer, it was much clearer to me on exactly what those changes were going to entail. Even the size of the shutters do make a difference, I feel.
Thank you, Dory.
Thanks. Any other questions?
I don't have a question, but maybe we could vote on it in 3 parts instead of 1.
If I could address that, sir, if I could get you to do that in 2 parts, if you are willing to do that, because I can't change my width. I've already re-engineered and already paid for that. So with the roof height and my eave widths are all connected, and I've got to order steel tomorrow.
Well,
So I'll just have to connect those 2 together, and if you don't like them, then...
voting on it in 3 parts doesn't have anything to
Yes,
do
sir.
with anything except the architectural that's been added to the building.
Yes, sir, I'm just saying that I need the roof and the eaves as one issue combined, because I can't separate those. If you said, okay, you can reduce your height, but you can keep your eaves the same, well, I've already redrawn it, and I don't have time to redraw a 3rd time, so I'm just going to go back to the old way that I originally presented it. But if you would like to vote on the shutters, if I can do vinyl, then yes, sir, I can accept that. If that makes sense, what I've just said.
Yeah. I don't know how it was originally presented, but stay as just 1 vote.
Okay, I mean, if you don't like the roof and you don't like the eaves, I mean, you can do those as 2 issues. But I'm not, if you give me one and don't give me the other, I'm going to leave it the old way, because I need them both to be connected. But if you can see your way to let me have the shutter change, I can live with that as a side issue, as a separate issue is what I'm saying.
Okay, is anybody prepared to give us a
I have no comments right now.
No comments.
no comments? Mr. Reyes?
I have no comments.
Okay. Nobody else? Okay. Then, can anybody make a motion? Okay, nobody wants to make a motion. I will make a motion. And the chair moves that we make no change to the roof and the eaves from our original agreement, and that we do allow the plastic shutters.
I can second that.
Second? Anybody? Second?
I'll second that.
Okay.
Chairman, just to be clear on the shutters, there was a
Vinyl.
material change and then also a size change, so that would be both.
Correct.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Yes, as proposed. Okay, we'll call for a vote.
Mr. Reyes?
Yes?
Mr. Simmons?
Yes.
Mr. Carter?
Yes.
Mr. Hugan?
Yes.
Ms. Cottenberg?
Yes.
Mr. McManus?
I guess yes.
Mr. Alvarez?
Yes.
Your motion passes.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Okay. Next item on the agenda is Commissioners' Matters. Anybody got anything to bring up? Nobody?
Sorry? I'm sorry.
No Commissioners' Matters?
No.
City Attorney, please.
Nothing tonight, thank you.
Okay. Staff?
No matters, we have scheduled a public hearing, though, for the next meeting, I believe April 6th. We have a waiver for some rooftop mechanical equipment, so that'll be coming before you at the next meeting.
I do have one question. Do we still have the young lady that was sat here for a couple of meetings, Community Development Director, do we still have one?
Oh, Ms. Moore, you mean?
Yes.
Actually, it was last fall. She had some family and had a job opportunity out in Arizona, so
Oh.
she moved out there. Currently, it's myself, and then Michelle Boswell has recently joined our Community Development Department. She has moved over from the Building Department, but she's helping me with some of those applications that have tied up my time for site plan review
Okay.
and all, but yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Anything anybody wants to see on the next agenda?
The candy that the attorney brings all the time is really welcomed. We didn't get it today.
Your candy.
I wanted to see what you guys were going to do tonight,
See, it was noticed.
you know?
Now we know who it was, right?
I'll make up
Sorry,
for
that
it,
wasn't
I'll make up
proper
for it next
business.
time.
And I apologize, I did think of one thing that I can fill you in. So the first reading and the first public hearing of the medical marijuana treatment centers did go before City Council at their last meeting. They really didn't have any questions or concerns either with what you recommended to them, and the next public hearing is scheduled for, and their final vote on that ordinance will be April 12th at their meeting.
Okay. That is the conclusion of this evening's business. This meeting is adjourned.